You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
Before we get into today's episode, I want to tell you a little bit about our current sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. As you well know, if you've been following This is Oklahoma, they've been a huge part of this podcast. So this podcast is presented by the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, telling Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at oklahomahof. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, your host. Back with another episode down at the Bedford studio today. Let's talk about coffee. Talk about Summer Moon Coffee Shop. Guys are with me to, just share the story and talk about, the moon milk that you guys have. And I'm tasting it. And people listening, if you're not watching, you're probably going to hear me tasting coffee all day because it's right next to the microphone. But apologize for that. But you should try it if you haven't already. Guys, thanks for coming down. I really appreciate you taking the time out to share your story. I'm dive into it. Obviously, fairly new coffee shop to town, and you're expanding the new location in Edmond, have the one in Yukon. But before we talk about coffee, as we do with every podcast, we set some context. Let's start, Chad, with you. I guess what's kind of like your Oklahoma story? Were you born and raised here?
Yep, I was born in Mustang, so lived here. Lived in Tulsa for a few years, but lived in the city all my life.
Yeah. So you went to Mustang High School?
Yeah, Mustang High School, and then I went to Southwestern Christian.
Okay.
Across the road there from where you went.
Yeah.
And that's where I met my wife. And so I graduated with a finance degree, and I work full-time in commercial real estate. I work for a developer. Had no intentions of opening a coffee shop, and it just kind of fell in our lap. And so Tori runs the coffee shop and the business, and I just kind of watch her do her thing.
What got you into commercial real estate?
Right out of college, I was in finance, so I worked corporate world. Found out quickly that wasn't for me. So then I went into a full-time commission, did mortgages. Okay. And I loved that. But then my dad's good friend is a developer, and he needed someone, and that kind of fell in my lap as well. So I've been working for him for 4 years this month. And so we just develop all sorts of commercial property, office, retail. So it was a blend of the finance degree and then the sales from mortgages.
Yeah. Having a finance degree really helps, didn't it? Because you can go into it's like having a marketing degree. You can do anything you want because you've got that backing, as long as you like the accounting and finance in school, which I didn't. So for my degree, I only had to take, I think, 3 accounting classes, not 4, to graduate with a finance degree.
Yeah, I don't like accounting, so I don't want to confuse it. But I do like numbers and forecasting. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Tori, what about you?
So I'm from Dallas.
Okay.
And then I moved up here, or I went to college up here at Southwestern Christian for volleyball. And then I met Chad, and I did interior design for quite a bit. And then I realized after the Summer Moon kind of fell in our laps, I realized, okay, I have to choose between interior design or Summer Moon.
Right.
And obviously I am obsessed with Summer Moon. I love it so much. And so I'm all in there.
It's your baby now, isn't it?
It is. It's like, I have 2 boys, and so it's my 3rd baby. And, now with Yukon and Edmond, I have 4 babies now, and I truly love them. So.
How old are the kids?
We have a 1-year-old and then a 3-year-old who's almost 4.
Oh, so you guys got your hands full.
Yeah. They're in the business with us, and man, they're so much fun.
Oh, that's awesome. And 2 boys as well.
Yes.
So are we trying for a girl next time, or are we done?
I don't know.
We're not done.
Not done?
I think maybe. Our in-laws my parents don't know that. Her parents don't know that, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We like boys, but I also wouldn't mind having a
boys
girl.
Are so easy, so I'm really okay with easier the better. But a girl would be nice to have a best friend.
Right.
So.
Tell me about volleyball. How'd you get into volleyball?
I just got into it when I was I think in 5th grade. I grew up, I was homeschooled, and so I did an association in Dallas there and played against all the private schools. And then I knew my way to college, I would have to get a scholarship somehow. Yeah. And so I just realized I buckled in, and I realized that was my path. And it paid off because, I play now occasionally, but it paid off with, meeting Chad and getting
paying
to have
for
our
school
future
and all
paying
the
for
rest
school.
of it. Same as golf did for me. You're right. It opens so many doors when you're an athlete.
Yeah, being an athlete, like a student athlete, is like probably the most like, I don't know, it's just a blessing all the way around. So.
Definitely. Yeah, I think we don't realize that until we graduate, right? When you're in school and you're like, I've got to go to practice.
Yeah,
I've got to go travel. I got to do this and do schoolwork while I travel on the bus or whatever. But the relationships you build with the teammates and all the rest of it, that's definitely something
you take it for granted.
100%. Yeah, I wish I tell everybody, they're like, what was college like? I'm like, it was awesome. I want to go back. Playing golf tournaments, playing golf every day.
Yeah, paid for golf.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's what, thankfully this year I joined the golf club, but up until that point, I'm just like, I need to go play. I need to practice, right?
Should we do a shout out? I mean, you won the club championship yesterday.
It's kind of, I've been a member for 3 months. I felt kind of bad. I didn't feel bad, but I've been a member for 3 months and I won the club championship, which is kind of nice.
Which club?
At Gladio in Oklahoma City.
That humble plug.
Sorry, Jared, if you're listening. But yeah, it's like for me, golf has given me every opportunity that I have in life. I can tie back to golf, so I'm sure it's the same with volleyball and stuff.
And I played golf in college, and the lady that hired me at the corporate job, her son played on the team with us, so it's like just all the connections.
And after college, golf is awesome. Golf really helps.
You can play golf until you're 90, and even volleyball.
Not until I'm 90. My knees won't hold up, but yes, as long as I can.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Talking volleyball, I guess Bethany area has a really cool tie to the Paralympics, right? The coach, did he go to Southwest? A friend of mine is his daughter. But I had a podcast with Kaleo McClay a couple of years ago when she came back from Rio with a medal. I was like, well, that's really cool. And now they have another one. So Oklahoma City and Bethany has a really cool tie to volleyball. What did you think when you first came to Southwest Christian from Dallas? Be honest, because I've been honest about what I thought when I came here as well. So
it's a good school. It's a solid school. It's definitely not my expectation when I think of college and all that. Honestly, being homeschooled, it was kind of easy, just because I was used to kind of managing your time, and when you study, like people were complaining about all-nighters. I didn't pull one all-nighter because you manage your time and you do what you need to do at so it wasn't terrible. The professors were unreal. They're amazing. All my business professors were incredible, and I love them to death. And honestly, I'm out of job. I got to meet Chad, and that's literally like the best bonus out of it, because I got him, and without him, we would not have like everything that we do. So it's
well, and also awesome. like everything you mentioned is the pros of a smaller school. Right, I had the same stuff at SNU. There's so many pros to a smaller school. You actually build a relationship with the teachers that you have and your friends, the smaller classes.
You're not a number.
And you don't fall. It's hard for you to, even if you try and sit at the back row and fall into your seat, they still know who you are, still know you're there.
And also, with being an athlete, if you had a big tournament or something and you weren't caught up on something, you could always go to them and say, hey, just ask them like, hey, can you just give me some grace on this kind of, And they usually did.
Right.
Obviously, unless you're a massive slacker, then they really kind of gave you grace.
So when you're in school, then where does interior design come about?
So I had a marketing degree, and it didn't. I love designing. I love decorating. We built a home, and I did that, and I don't know. I've always had an eye for it, and they didn't have a particular field for interior design, so I just kind of took it on my own, and I just started my own thing, and it was like a word of mouth spread, and it worked out. So, but now, none of that. Only my personal homes and or my personal house, and no more. Right. Only for Summer Moon. So
I can't imagine of you having
I can't.
2 kids and two businesses as well, right?
I have to say no
as well as you working full time too, right? It's a lot of things to manage, right?
A little bit.
Seems really cool to do that, and there's so many ties to being a college athlete, both of you, and playing golf and playing volleyball and that team camaraderie, and then transitioning it into entrepreneurship. Right? There's plenty of people I've had on the podcast, and I'm like, you played college sports, I can tell, right? Because it just seems to transition really well. And Chad, what you mentioned, when you first started working, I tried an office job for a while, hated it. I think that's just because we just grew up being competitive, doing our own thing.
Right.
Even though you're in a team, you still got your own role, right?
Yes.
And like entrepreneurship, why you gotta at least give it a go.
Oh, yes.
So tell me, how does this coffee shop thing come about then? Like, do you get a phone call? Does someone think, you know what, a coffee shop is a great idea? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah. So Chad, you'll take that.
Well, it's kind of a lesson in and of itself. It's just like if we go to work every day and we do our job, things will happen. And so the first shop is it's in Yukon, right off the turnpike and 39th. So my boss, Ken McGee, is developing that. It's 90 acres there. Yeah. We built this beautiful strip center, and on the corner there's a drive-through spot. And we had been targeting Starbucks, and we had a letter of intent signed with them. It was going to happen, and then that deal falls through. If you've ever been out there, it's pretty close to the on-ramp of the turnpike. Yeah. And so ODOT turned down the traffic signal. And so that's why Starbucks decided to pull out of there, because they thought they wanted to control the traffic. And so I remember being kind of bummed because I was pretty excited to do a deal with Starbucks. My brother lives in Houston, and he said, hey, you should call Summer Moon. They're like a mile from my house. They just opened one next to me in Houston. It's so good. This Moon Milk that everybody's talking about, he's like, people will drive across town. Like my cousin lives down there. She'll drive 45 minutes to get it. I was like, okay, we're being a little bit exaggerating here. So I just shot him an email like, hey, any interest in Oklahoma City? And the guy emails me back, Ben, who was now he's the CEO of the franchising part. He emails me back, says, yeah, that'd be great. Let's hop on a call. And so I'm just talking to him, thinking they're going to open a corporate store. He's like, we'd love to be there. We just need a franchisee. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be the franchisee. I have no interest in that. And then I started telling Tori about it. And this was like last May, kind of when when the world was a little bit weird. And I remember sitting on the back patio and her being like, I want to do it. She worked at Green Goodies in college, right there in Crescent Curve. And that was like one of her favorite jobs. And so we just pursued it, and crazy enough, it's happened. And
the fact that they chose us as like a family to franchise in Oklahoma is like an honor, just because they have so many inquiries a day. And I don't know, they found favor with us, and it was just been, I don't even know. It's just
timing.
It's been awesome.
That's so cool. So you're on the back patio, you're like, let's do this.
Yeah.
You got two little ones as well.
Yeah. Oh, I'm pregnant.
No, she's
actually.
pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
Okay, so you're currently,
so maybe it was like a pregnancy thing. I was just like the hormone or something. I was like, hey, let's get a little crazy and let's do this. So yeah.
So where do you go from there? Where does that conversation take you to the planning side? And obviously you're the financial side, right? Because you have that backing. Like, the numbers work. Let's do it.
Yeah, and I had no clue. Like, I had never gotten a commercial loan.
Yeah.
I knew a little bit about numbers, but so we started just working with our banker, and then we went down to Austin. Well, actually, we went to Frisco because we wanted to try it. We hadn't even tried it, and we're like,
let's do it.
We
can try it.
Probably if it was any coffee shop, we wouldn't have done it. But the thing that sets them apart is they roast their coffee over open oak flame.
Okay.
And most people use, like, when they roast their coffee, they're using natural gas or electricity. We're talking old school method, and that's what makes it so smooth.
Yeah.
And then they also had this Moon Milk, so we're like, okay, this sets us apart a little bit. So we're like, let's try it out. So we go on a Sunday afternoon in Frisco.
And it's during COVID, so everything's shut down.
Right.
And so they got this tent set up in the back, and we're like, well, this probably isn't the greatest first impression, except for there's a line. It's like 100 degrees outside.
On a Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock.
During COVID.
And we're like, okay, let's try this.
And so we had ordered, we're standing there talking, and I remember I said something like, well, this coffee must be good. And the guy we were talking to, he lived like 45 minutes away. And he said he drives there every Sunday to get it. And we're just like, wow, like just every door that needed to be opened was opened. And that was kind of our prayer, like open doors or closed doors, and doors were open. So
they swung wide open. And mind you, I didn't like coffee prior to opening the shop.
Yeah.
I did not. I would drink, a cold brew before a volleyball game or something to get me like a boost of energy, but I do not like the taste of coffee. Yeah. Whenever I had it that afternoon, I don't even know. Yeah. Like, I chugged that coffee.
This is it.
It was it. I was like, this is good coffee, because it doesn't have that bitter taste. It's very smooth. It doesn't have that bite afterwards and then that lingering. Yeah. Just like kind of a burnt taste that usually coffee has. And so for whenever they roast it, it's just, I don't even know. It's just good. So.
That's awesome. So at that moment, you're like, okay, we definitely know this is a good move. Yeah. You're like, let's do this. Then you already have the spot, which is on the on the land that you work for. So the relationship's already there.
Yeah. Which we've learned is like the battle to find a spot.
Oh yeah, I mean it's on the off ramp of a highway, like.
Yeah.
And it's not just like it's any highway. I mean, it's the turnpike that everyone uses.
Yeah.
Right.
And now you have a Brahms right next to you too, right? And
Yeah,
Which is awesome. We can get our milk.
They're now delivering our milk. Keep it local.
Yeah.
There's a lot of activity out there.
Yeah.
So it's been a huge blessing.
No doubt. So from that process then of you guys trying the milk, like, I mean, you got to find build out. You got to build out the space. Like, talk me through all that, because people listening might think, oh, well, we want to do this too, or a restaurant. Like, there's similarities here. So
it's definitely harder than people kind of, or we may paint a picture. Chad has a history with the construction side of things. He has a lot of subs that love him and work for him, and so he pulled all of the subs in, and they did a phenomenal job. But it does, if you don't have those connections, if you don't have those people, I mean, it's a hard gig.
Right.
A lot of juggling different things to make sure we opened on the 31st of January or 30th of January.
yeah.
And just making sure you hit those deadlines and make sure everything, we get our cabinets in the countertops and the machinery, all that. And it's during COVID, so there's a little bit of some shortages, I guess. A lot.
Still.
Yeah.
Still.
Well, I mean, even hiring help, right?
Oh, man,
Finding help, training employees.
Fortunately, we've had good luck with that.
We are super blessed to have amazing staff. Our Yukon staff is just some of the friendliest staff, and our admin now, they're incredible. And all of them work so hard, and we have had quite a few inquiries about that, especially right when we open. People are like, oh, yeah, I want to work for a new coffee shop. But, I mean, I definitely demand a lot, hard work. I work hard, and I expect them to, and they truly do. They perform, and they do an amazing job.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, that you're bringing in, back to being an athlete, you're bringing in lessons that you've learned, and coaches have taught you.
Yeah,
team you build that team atmosphere, and they give them, you give them some... what's the right word for it? I mean, you give them some space to grow, right, and to make decisions on their own, so they value their position rather than you just dictating and say, no, you do this or this or this way. I mean, there's guidelines, but it's great to have that. And obviously, raving success, the first one, and then was the second one supposed to happen as fast as it did? Or
no, I mean, we opened the first one thinking
this is the only one.
Well, we didn't know what to expect. We were nervous. The grand opening morning, it's raining, and we're like, great, nobody's gonna show up. Well, we get there at 5:15 in the morning.
Yeah, 5:15.
And we
open
look
at
out.
7.
We open at 7. We look out at 5:30. Somebody's outside
sitting
in the rain.
outside, and I literally, I'm not really a crier, and I tear up, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be it. And there was a line. I mean, it's pouring outside, and there was a line around the building, and I'm like, okay,
yeah, it was amazing.
That's
people
awesome.
love Summer Moon.
Yeah,
it was,
and
awesome.
it has nothing to do with us. I mean, it's just a great product.
It truly is a great product. So.
Yeah, but back to timing, everything worked out great. You got the location, you got the relationships that you've built up from the contracting side, and then, like I said, Starbucks falls through and you make that one phone call.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, and it's changed our lives.
Yeah,
so.
it's just that's the best thing about it, though, isn't it? Because, like you said, you never thought you didn't like coffee growing up, right? Until you tried it, you never thought that, hey, we're gonna have a coffee shop one day. We're gonna have 2 coffee shops one day, right? And maybe it's gonna lead to 10 or more than that. It's just life gives us opens and closes doors. Life gives us opportunities, and it's our job to realize that and say yes or no, or just give it a go. And I think the athletes in us, for the most part, said, yeah, we can do that.
Right.
What's the worst going to happen?
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Exactly.
What's the worst that's going to happen? They say no.
Yeah. So opening day was a raving success, even though it was raining.
It was actually it broke some records across Summer Moon. It was the biggest grand opening they had. Now recently it was just beat, right? But doesn't mean we can't beat it again. So so it was a great success. We've definitely, just through COVID and everything, we've definitely learned a lot. With the shortages, really just the shortages are just the plastic. Come on, guys! I need some plastic cups. Yeah. But it's truly just been awesome. And then Edmond, there was a location in the Rail Yard District, which is downtown, and it doesn't have a drive-through, which kind of scared us big time, just because our drive-through is just such a big, just the convenience factor of it. We don't have that, and so, but we do have mobile ordering, and we do have really quick service. So, unlike quite a few coffee shops, we do quality, but we also do, we can make it really fast. So even though our line, and even if our line is long, I mean, we're going to knock these out. So before you probably zip up your wallet or put your wallet in the back pocket, we'll probably have your drink ready.
That's awesome. And you're right. Like there are concerns, right, to not having a drive-through, and it's very seasonal. Some people don't even want to get out of the car when it's over 100 degrees, and then the same as if it's 30 degrees, which in Oklahoma could be in the space of 3 days. Right. And it's there's plenty of places that like the rail yard's awesome, right? I know Chris Kennelly did the amazing mural there, and there's plenty of cool areas, and Visit Edmond have been really working hard on building a big community in Edmond as well, and walkable community, right?
Yes.
In Edmond, which is great. The city's doing that. So. But yeah, no doubt it was at risk. I mean, like, it's not like when you're, like you said, when you're a child, the second one's a lot easier. No, it's not, because it's totally different.
Totally different child.
I will say it was easier, because the first one we had no clue.
Right.
Yeah, like we knew the equipment to purchase. We knew we had our subs lined up. It was just a matter of, okay, this is the tile to choose. We had our tile layer, like everything. That was easier for sure. But finding the people, I knew I needed 16 to 18 people, and I knew what time to start hiring them. So they weren't waiting for a job.
Right.
So that part was easier. It was just the
unknown.
The unknown is scary.
Yeah. What was it like for you to use your kind of interior design skills to build out the coffee shop? Were you allowed? Did corporate give you kind of like guidelines, or were they like go and kind of like, how was that experience?
So the first one, they gave me guidelines. They gave me like a checklist. Hey, these need to be hit, and I did that. And then recently, just with their growth, they have tried to instill, some more guidelines and some standards that they want. They want to make sure that the space feels cozy and like quaint, and you walk in, you feel like home. And so I tried to just kind of do that. I worked alongside with one of the family members, which is rare. But just with my background, they also, for some reason, they trust us a bunch, which I love that. But they let us kind of, work hard and create like a vision, and they approved that vision, and we just kind of.
That's really. It seems like the company's just one big family.
It is,
right, which is probably really heartwarming to you guys, coming from Oklahoma, living here now for as long as you do, and same with me. Like, been here 10 years now, and I mean, just so different now after being here for that long, because you just kind of accumulate that way of life, and it's just the way that everyone is, and it rubs off on you.
Yes.
And it's probably nice to have that feedback with a corporation, and the last thing you want is to phone call someone like, no, these are the rules, you have to stick to these. Right. Like, you don't know what it's like here. Like, we need to do this instead.
Yes.
Yeah, they've been fantastic.
And that's like probably the hardest part, because we're the second location outside of Texas, so they have all Texas-based stores.
Yeah.
And we get colder weather sooner, so like merch. I'm like, hey, let's push for hoodies. Right. Maybe not in November. Let's do it in October, so we can start. Even though it's still pretty warm.
No, but still.
But things like
little things like that.
90 degrees.
90 degrees.
Yeah. It was cold this morning, and I was in long sleeves and jeans.
Yes. So it just depends. Yeah. But those kind of obstacles we do. We are growing and learning with that, but they're really gracious about that. They, whatever it is, hey, we need this, and they will do it. Like they've been awesome and a great company to work with. We couldn't have chosen like a better company to work with for sure.
Tell me about. You just mentioned like clothing. Are they pretty big on clothing? Do they give you like any kind of like guidelines, or give you any free reign with clothing as long as you got the logo on it?
No, so we don't do any of that. It comes from corporate. So all the merchandise comes from corporate. And like our beans, like we get them fresh weekly. The merch, they launch it each season. But they all do that, and they have some super cool merch.
So you're not having any like OU or OSU or UCO?
No, we try to stay away from any of the Texas colors, just because we found out those don't sell quite as well here.
I wonder why.
And we forgot to mention, I think I said it, but it's from Austin is where we get everything. So I would love to see if we ever have a Norman store. I think it'd be cool. Like, I guess to do Texas is this Saturday. Be like our store versus their store.
Oh yeah.
Like sales wise or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
that'd
we
be
push
great.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously you have the main store now, or the first store, which is in Yukon. And then, you got the Edmond store. Well, Edmond store opened fairly recently,
Last week.
Last week. So super recent.
Yes.
But, as entrepreneurs are, the goal is to open more, right? And will domination take over and have as many as you want? Coffee shop business is very competitive in Oklahoma City.
Yes.
Especially over the last 5 years, right? People have gone, just they're popping up everywhere and in different markets and all in different, they tie into different things. I won't mention any of your competitors because I don't care, but there's plenty of people listening who have your favorite coffee shops. But if you haven't tried this Moon Milk, you need to, because I'm gonna need a gallon of that latte. It's so good. But growing naturally, where do you see the business? What do you want to do? And kind of like, I guess, the whole state of Oklahoma. I mean, it's
it's at our fingertips.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we have some plans. We're about to, or have we signed?
No.
I'm not sure. We're about to hopefully sign something. So hopefully the next store is going to be February or March.
Awesome.
Tulsa is definitely on our radar for all the Tulsa people out there. Definitely is coming. And then Norman's coming. We have quite a few. Our goal, we have an ambitious goal, but I don't know. Do you want to get
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, you want to. That's too much pressure. What is that quote? If your goals aren't big enough, what's that quote? It is. You're not nervous or whatever the goal is. Everyone knows that quote, but that's awesome.
We're just having fun with it, and it doesn't feel like work. I mean, there are days I'm like, oh man, I'm tired, but honestly, it doesn't feel like work. We're having a blast.
Yeah.
So.
And our kids are. Our 4-year-old, 3.5-year-old, he'll go up there and he'll help move some milks around.
Yes,
and
just training him to work and the work ethic behind it, because we definitely want them to. I mean, the 1-year-old, he didn't even walk yet, so we'll give him some grace. But the 4-year-old for sure, he'll run in there and he'll try to he's like, hey, can I help? And he tries to help as much as possible.
I'm sure the staff love him too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they have to.
True.
They might inside. They might be like, okay, get him out of here. But what can you say?
Yeah. Did any of you grow up with parents being entrepreneurs, or not? I'm just thinking of your kids growing up around you, owning businesses and being around the business growing up. That's all they're going to know growing up now is we had a coffee shop. We had coffee shops and we remember the first few, and then hopefully when, 10, 15 years from now, there's a lot more. Yeah. But I'm just thinking if you guys ever grew up with parents who were entrepreneurial.
My mom, she's an attorney, but she had her own practice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just her office, but I just always remember going up there and seeing her.
My parents have worked hard. I mean, maybe not entrepreneurs, but they, and both of our parents
yeah, my
too.
dad he was a salesman.
Yeah.
And then obviously your dad's a realtor, so he's always same thing, grinding. And,
so they've always instilled work ethic and hard work ethic, and nothing comes easy. So we've kind of got that from our parents. And
can't wait till you get them in the store, right? So they're working at the store.
Man, cut those labor costs.
Exactly. That's right. You have to show them that first check they get, and they see that taxes, right?
What is that?
They're not going to like that one bit, are they?
No, they will not.
Yeah.
But they better get used to it.
Hey, we've all got to do it, sadly.
Unfortunately.
Like I said, you got some pretty big goals. Norman, Tulsa obviously would be a great market. Any of the the state park stuff? I mean, I know the state's pushing big stuff with they rebranded their restaurants with a new group this year or last year. Foggy Bottom made a huge difference.
Yep.
That just seems like a perfect fit to have a statewide coffee or whatever it is. I know it's a Texas-based coffee, but still.
Yes. We haven't really thought about that. We're definitely scoping out whether it's a food truck or a what do you call those? Like a box truck or something like that. Doing building one out. Yeah, doing something mobile. But we haven't really thought about that as much, just because our target audience would probably be the morning traffic. Right. Quick. Hey, I can get a coffee here way quicker than most places. Or that's probably our target market. And also moms. We serve a lot of moms. We're very kid friendly. Obviously, I mean, I'm a mom, but so we just try to push that so much. But definitely something to look into.
Yeah, I mean, everything's on always.
Everything's
yes,
exactly, definitely. Chad, with this, then I think, obviously you love what you do in the commercial real estate space, but is there an option where this gets to a point where you're like, you know what? Sorry, boss. Right.
I don't know. I don't know that answer yet. It's just going to be a timing thing. I love what I do. My boss is, he's older, but I don't think he'll ever fully retire. Yeah. So I don't know what the future looks like. I know I really love Summer Moon, but I also, had I not had this job, I wouldn't have learned we wouldn't have opened this coffee shop because we wouldn't have known, how to negotiate a lease and how to do all this stuff. So that's something that I'll just have to figure out.
Yeah. So. Let's dive into the menu a little bit then. There's people probably listening like, I've never heard of Summer Moon. They're probably Googling it, looking at the social media pages. Obviously, you mentioned the moon milk that makes it so special, but kind of from an owner's perspective, what things do you think people should order more of? What stands out?
So moon milk, that is our signature sweet cream. So if you go in there and you ask, what's moon milk? They should say signature sweet cream. Yeah. So you can kind of control your sweetness level based off of your order. So like right now you're drinking a half moon, and so it's going to be half the sweetness. Half of it is that moon milk, half of it is regular milk, and then we have espresso. So if you don't like it as sweet, next time you can order a quarter moon or an eighth. And then if you like it super sweet, then we have a winter moon, which is our iced, the full sweetness iced, or a summer moon, which is hot, full sweetness. If you normally drink, we don't have caramel at any of our stores just because that
caramel.
Caramel. I cannot actually say that caramel. I'm Texan, remember, so I have to say it. So we don't have caramel at our location, but so the moon milk has those caramel vanilla notes in it, and so if you normally, let's just say, get a caramel macchiato somewhere, you come in here, get a 3/4 winter moon latte.
Gotcha.
You will be completely satisfied with that. It's really creamy, really sweet, and it still hits those like caramel notes. We're really well known for our espresso milkshake. Okay. It's a blended drink, super good.
So
I mean, we have just regular coffee. We can do like a regular macchiato or cortado or, all those fancy stuff. But we're just known really for anything with our moon milk. People are happy.
For kids, like frozen hot chocolate is really good.
Oh, yeah.
And then we probably have one of the better breakfast burritos in Oklahoma City.
Yes.
Oh, we have food too. Okay.
Yes. So our breakfast burritos, we probably sell out of those most days, but they're really well known. They're solid. So we have brisket, we have chorizo, and we have bacon.
Okay.
Solid breakfast burritos.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one
to
has
come
ever
and get,
been upset about them. So.
It's just morning coffee and a brisket taco, just a brisket burrito, breakfast burrito. Just you're right on the way to the golf course. That's what you do, right?
You need?
Just grab,
and
grab
it's like 10 minutes from Guardia.
Exactly, right up the highway.
Like you have a plan.
No brainer. Yeah, you're probably gonna see me every day now. It's gonna be like 400 pounds. Drink responsibly, kids. Promise. That's really cool. I didn't know that. That's great. You guys have food as well. And I mean, like back to mention, like you get Brahms Dairy right next to you. You get Brahms Delavia milk, and I mean, who doesn't like Brahms milk?
They make everything better.
They 100%.
And we
it's
support
so good.
all local. So we try all of our bakeries. They're all local.
Okay.
So we find people just that first off make amazing baked goods, and then we just try to support them, and we try to do as much business as we can with local businesses.
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, especially with the first store, right? Yukon kind of, even in the last year, right, has been getting a lot more places come in. I mean, we finally had some Fuzzies open up, which I was thrilled about.
Oh, yeah.
We built that, by the way.
You did? That's that area? Yeah, great area. So you got, Fuzzies came in, you got Ice Cream, Baked Bear Ice Cream, and other places that just, the city's really growing, and obviously they're pushing downtown as well and stuff like that. But it seems that there was a real need, right, for a solid coffee shop that wasn't just like, oh yeah, we'll just put this together, and it's just like the kind of hotel coffee that you get that's tar basically. So and the location's just worked out. I love the timing of it. I mean, everything happens for a reason. Doors open, and it couldn't have worked out better, which is awesome to hear. Going forward then, obviously we mentioned big goals. The new store has just opened and there's more coming. But what is your favorite drink on the menu?
Oh, man.
Now, for not being a coffee drinker and now like reciting the menu just like you just did, I assume it's not just one drink. There's a drink for every occasion.
Honestly, it just depends. Like if I don't even know. They're all so good.
I can answer. I'm an Americano kind of guy, okay. So every day I just get Americano.
Every day. Chad gets it 3 times a day.
Yeah.
So.
Every day I do.
I drink a lot of coffee. Yeah. But if it's like a hot day and I want a frozen drink, I'm gonna get the espresso milkshake.
Yeah. I like the cold brew. We have a really good cold brew.
Nitro's very good.
Nitro's really good. I like the honeymoon latte. It's on our secret menu. So it's going to be a little bit of that moon milk, a little bit of honey.
Yeah.
And I like it iced.
How do we find the secret menu?
the secret.
It's the secret.
Yeah.
You got to ask for it. That's a regular thing. You order so many drinks in a certain amount of period, and then you get the special.
That's right.
Unlock, open the store.
Yes,
Here's the new menu. Here's the new merch.
Yeah, you got the perks.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks so much for coming down. Really appreciate you spending some time here to share your story. It's, just knowing now more about it, the kid's going to grow up around the business, the new store that you have open at the rail yard, just the ones that are coming. Can't wait to see it progress. Can't wait to see, what the future holds for you both. Hopefully we'll play some golf soon.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
And, unlock, Summer Moon to more people, and people listening to this need to come. Thankfully, you don't have to drive 45 minutes to try Moon Milk.
That's right.
And if you do, wait a couple of years, and you might only have to drive 20 minutes.
Yes, hey, we do have people driving from Tulsa now, and they're like, please, please, please. And I'm like, it's coming.
It's coming. You'll just have to wait for it.
There's only 2 of us, so you just give us some time. But thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
it's
you
been
bet.
a blast.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Awesome. So for people listening, what's the website, what's the social media pages, and how can they follow you?
Yeah, so Summer Moon OKC is our Instagram, and then Summer Moon Edmond and Summer Moon Yukon. Or maybe it's OKC for Facebook. And then for our website, it is summermoon.com. Yes, summermooncoffee.com.
Yeah. Awesome. I'll post those links in the description. Guys, who are listening, you can go right to that. Click follow, order some amazing coffee, get a burrito. I want to hear all about it. And we will catch you next episode. Cheers. This podcast is presented by the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, telling Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at oklahomahof.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.